Okay, this is our daily study of Pirkei Avot for those who have yard sites for tonight, the 11th of Sivan. Tova Adamus, Sarah Bobrow, Clara Belavsky, Jack Crestall, Harold Goldwasser, Helen Lerner, Sam Penner, Jacob Rosenberg, Max Rosenblum, Abe Scher, and Adolf Stern. May their memory be for a blessing. A link to the text in the Mishnah will be in the first comment below. Chapter 3, Mishnah 7, Rabbi Elazar Ish Bartosa Omer. Rabbi Elazar, a man of the town of Bartota, which is in the Galilee, said, Ten lo mishalo sha'ata v'shalach shalo. V'chein bedavid hu omer ki mimcha hakol miyadcha nasanu lach. So give to him, meaning God, what is his. Sounds like render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, right? Give unto him what is his, for you and yours are his. And thus said King David, it quotes from Chronicles, for all things come of you, and of your own we have given you. So what that means is when you give money to God, and we'll see in a moment how to give money to God, you're just giving him his own money back from him, because you have to have that pious attitude that everything you have in life is from the grace of God, right? Nothing really belongs to you. And it's interesting that even in the Hebrew language, we don't really have a word for I own something or it is mine. We say it's like sheli or shelcha. It is of me or of you. I've heard that once before. That's one way to understand it. It's kind of this item is now of me. It's kind of with me, but there's not like as strong a word in English as it's mine, which is just something interesting to reflect on. And it quotes King David, who, when he was building the temple, while raising money for the temple, it's really his son Solomon who gets to build the temple in the end, but David started it. And when he was raising funds to build the temple, he said, "Hey God, we're building this shrine for you, but everything we're just giving you yours back to you. Everything we have comes from you anyway, and comes from the grace of God." Um, so how do you give money to God? Well, the Kahati quotes that by giving charity, which sounds a little counterintuitive because that's giving to other people, right? The poor people, needy people, but it's God who commanded you to give that charity. So by giving to the poor, you are giving to God. You're fulfilling His will. And there's sort of a delightful story the Kahati quotes that this Rabbi Elazar was known for giving away all his money to charity, to the point that the charity collectors in town had to run away from him because they thought he was giving too much. He didn't keep enough for himself and his own family, which we usually don't recommend, by the way. The rabbis, tithing, we say give 10%. 10 to 20 is generally the range you're supposed to give, and you're not even supposed to give more than 20. But some people are extra pious. Rabbi Elazar, so the charity collectors would have to run away from him and say, "God, stop giving us charity." So some people are on that level. But the Kahati also quotes that doing other mitzvahs, like, well, giving to shul is a good thing for a rabbi to say. Giving to a synagogue is giving to God, right? But buying a mezuzah for your doorpost, buying a lulav and etrog for sukkahs, buying matzah for Pesach, buying kosher food, buying tzitzis or yarmulke, right? All these Judaica things are also sort of giving to God, in that you're spending money on your religion. Okay, but you're just giving it back to God. Then it says, Rabbi Shimon Omer, Hamahalech baderech v'shoneh mafsik mishnaso v'omer, ma noa ilan zeh, ma noa nir zeh, ma lalav hakasuv kilam ischayev benafsho. So this mission requires some real delving and explanation. Rabbi Shimon said, he who walks along a road studying and interrupts his studies and says, how beautiful is this tree? Or how beautiful is this field? The Torah considers it as though he transgressed against his own soul. That's the Kahati translation. Um, so you're walking on the road and sort of studying Torah orally, verbally, which is really how it originally was done, right? Before anything was written down in the oral Torah, there was always a written Torah, but the Mishnah, the rabbinic sayings, were not written down until later. But you're walking in the road, and be a very pious person, while you're walking, you're just sort of studying Torah, right? They didn't have a Walkman or Discman or radio back then to listen to. What else could you do but study Torah? So, but you stop and you say, what a beautiful tree, what a beautiful field. That's a terrible thing to do. And it says the Torah considers it, but then doesn't give a proof text. So commentaries point out you have to look at the next Mishnah, which is similar. We'll get to the next Mishnah tomorrow, but just to look at, for some reason, the proof text is in the next Mishnah and it's not in this one. But the proof text is in Devarim. Only take heed to yourself and guard your soul diligently, lest you forget the things which your eyes saw. So Moses tells the people, don't forget the wondrous revelation you received at Sinai. So we learn from that if you're studying Torah and you interrupt your studies, you're causing yourself to pause and therefore to forget your Torah study. Now, do we Jews not believe in and appreciating God's nature, God's creation, his beautiful trees and his field? So I always explain the Mishnah, you have to be very careful in how to interpret this. There's nothing objectively wrong with going outside in a hike and saying, how beautiful is that tree? How beautiful is the field? But what's the context here? You were in the middle of studying Torah. So either do one or the other. If you're in the middle of studying Torah, be true to that. And don't interrupt and say, what a nice tree, because then you're not really appreciating God's nature. You're just sort of distracting yourself and not being serious. But if you want to go into nature, we actually have a blessing. We know that the rabbis appreciated nature because there's an official bracha, a blessing to make on beautiful sights of nature. It's Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam oseh maaseh breshit. Blessed are you, God, King of the universe, who makes the acts of the works of creation, the wonders of creation. So if you're ever at the Grand Canyon or somewhere beautiful, that's the bracha to make. Oseh maaseh breshit. It's a beautiful blessing. And so we know we have it literally canonized and legislated that we do appreciate nature. That's why this Mishnah has to be understood in proper context. Finally, there's a nice story of a rabbi in England named Rabbi Elia Lopian, who was a prominent rabbi who decided to take a vacation from the yeshiva as he was getting older and go see the Swiss Alps. And his students asked, "You sit and study Torah all day. What possessed you to go see the Alps?" And he said, "I don't know, how much more time I have left. I want to get to heaven, and God will say, Reb Elia, why didn't you see my Alps?" Beautiful story. God's going to tell me, Reb Elia, you didn't see my Alps. It's beautiful. I made it for you. Why didn't you ever see it? A beautiful story about how we as Jews do appreciate nature and not just sitting in the study hall studying all day. Okay, so we'll say the El Malei Rachamim. El Malei Rachamim shochein b'meromim. Hamatzei menucha nechona al kanfei hashechina b'malos kadoshim tahorim. Gizar harakia masirim es nishmos kol haskaros shel halayla shel chuli olamam. Ba'avur shemispalim bad haskaras nishmasam. Igan eden tehe menuchasam. Lachein bal harachamim yastireim b'seiser kenafav liolamim. Yitzror b'tzor achayim es nishmasam. Adonai unachlasam yanuchu b'shalom b'shkavosam and omar amen. And in English, O God, full of mercy, who dwells on high, grant proper rest in the wings of your presence in the lofty levels of the holy and pure, who shine like the glow of the firmament. For the souls of Tova Adamus, Sarah Bobrow, Clara Belavsky, Jack Crestall, Harold Goldwasser, Helen Lerner, Sam Penner, Jacob Rosenberg, Max Rosenblum, Abe Scher, and Adolf Stern, in whose memory we study and pray. May their resting place be in the Garden of Eden. Therefore may the Master of Mercy shelter them in the shelter of his wings for eternity. May he bond their soul in the bond of life. Hashem is their heritage. May they rest in peace. And let us say Amen.